All right. So today I have a question here. It's about transformation. And I want to solve it using this software called GeoGebra. And I'm going to read the question. It goes like using a scale of 2 centimeter to 1 unit on both others. I'll not focus mainly on those, like the scale and all those things. I'll just go ahead and then solve it. The second question, or the second sub question, or the sub question, let me just say the sub question says we have to plot the points J, which is 2, 3. So I'll go here and pick, I'll go under tools and then I'll pick the point. I'll pick the points. Let me undo that. Okay, let me go pick points here. So first we have to plot the points. J was 2, 3. So we locate 2 on the x-axis and then 3 on the y-axis. And then, yeah, GeoGebra by default is going to label the points like A, B, C. We will change that in a minute. So that was 2, 3 for J, and then K was 4, 0. Is it 4, 0? Yeah. So we will do another point, which is 4 on the x and then 0 on the y. And that's going to be right here. And then the last point is L, which is 5, 2. Let me increase this a bit. So it's going to be 5 and 2. So 5, 2 is going to be here. So after plotting these 3 points, first of all, let me go and then change the points to the variables or letters given in the question. So the A is J, and then B was K, and then C was L. So I'm changing out of it so that it would look just like the question. All right, so we have the points J, K, L, which is 2, 3, 4, 0, and 5, 2. And the next question or sub question says we are to join the points J, K, and L to form a triangle. So you pick your rule or your ruler and then you join those points. I'm going to pick a polygon from here under GeoGebra. Where is polygon? For some reason I cannot read. Let me go to more, and then I will see polygon here. I'm going to join all the points. Boom. I select it well. Okay. I have to go change this to L. And I'll go to the tools and then select polygon. This is a polygon. Here it's going to be J. Okay, this is different from I've been using it on MacBook. So for Windows, we select all the points here and then connect them like that. So we have triangle JKL as the question wants us to do. And then the next question says we have to draw the image triangle J1, K1, L1 of triangle JKL under a rotation through 90 degrees. This software can handle rotation under rotation 90 degrees. 90 degrees clockwise rotation, but I'm going to show you how the whole thing is done. So to rotate a point clockwise, you know how the clock moves, so you know how the clockwise direction goes. I'm going to pick a random point on this graph. Let me go and select a point. Let's assume we have this point here, which is 2, 5, right? X first, so 2, 5. We are going to rotate this point 90 degrees clockwise. What we do is, the first point was 2. We are going to move this 2 clockwise. So this is point 2. And then we are going to move it clockwise. Moving it clockwise means something like this. We come here, and then I wanted to write on it, but it's not writing. Undo, and then undo that. I don't want all those. Okay, so rotating 90 degrees, what I wanted you to see is I needed my pen to be able to write on the screen, but it's not writing. I'm going to show this on OneNote. Yeah, if we have, for example, let me erase that. Okay. Get my pen. If we have this to be the y-axis, this to be the x-axis. I know they are not straight. This to be the x-axis. Just take it like that. We have a point here, which is x. If we are to rotate it 90 degrees clockwise, then all we have to do is move it like this. And it's going to come, you see where it landed? It landed on the y-axis. So all we are saying is, if we have a point and we do a 90 degrees clockwise rotation, then that x is going to be on the negative y side. And if we have the point y, like positive y is going to be up here. Let's assume this point is a y. Then 90 degrees clockwise rotation is also going to land on the x-axis. So that y is going to be on the x side. So this is the rule that we use to perform 90 degrees clockwise rotation. So you interchange the positions of each of the values that's given, and then you negate the x, which now becomes the y coordinate. So for example, we had our first point J, which was 2, 3. So if we do a 90 degrees clockwise rotation, then we are saying the 2 will come down here and it will be negative. And it's going to map to J1, according to the question. The 2 is going to be negative, and the 3, which was the y, is now going to be up here. I hope that's okay. That same way, we have the point K, which was 4, 0, right? Oh, sorry. It was 4, 0, like this. So if we perform a 90 degrees clockwise rotation, then it's going to map to K1, which is going to be, the 4 is going to be down here, and it's going to be negative. And the 0 is going to be up here. So it's going to be 0, negative 4. And the final one, which is the L, this is K1, sorry. L, which was 5, 2, was it 5, 2? Yeah. L was 5 and 2. That's going to come here to L1. and it's going to be, we said the 5, which is x, comes to the y position, and it becomes negative, and the y comes here. So it's going to be 2, -5. Now let's go back to GeoGebra, and I'll use the software to rotate that for us. So we go to transformation, like transform here. We are doing a rotation about a point, and this rotation is about the origin. So let me put a point at the origin. That's where we are going to rotate that. And then I'll go back to the transformation or the transform side, and then select rotate about a point. And it's telling us we have to select the object to rotate the center point and then the angle. So this is the object, and this is the center of rotation, and it's asking of the angle. The angle is 90 degrees, so I'll type in 90 here, and then the direction for the rotation is a clockwise rotation, so we select clockwise. If it was anti-clockwise, we would have selected counterclockwise. That is clockwise, so clockwise, and then we select that, and then it comes here. So we rotated this 90 degrees about the origin, and this becomes the image. That becomes the image. I can go here to algebra mode, and then we look at the coordinates of the image. We have it here. We have, did we have 3, 2 for the first point? Yeah. So if you look at what we did under OneNote here, we saw that 2, 3 became 3, -2. So let's go back there and see. We have 3, -2, yeah. And then the next one became 4, -0, -4. Is that also right? Yeah, 0, -4. And the last one is 2, -5. I just want us to cross check. 4, -5 for the last one. Okay, 2, -5. I don't know why I said 4, -5. That's the last one, which is 2, -5. And that one is the point K1. K1. So I can delete this and label it K1, because the question wanted it to be K1. And then L1 for this. So I'll label that L1. This becomes K1. Sorry. This one here becomes J1. So if you are doing this on your graph sheet, all you have to do is to plot the points after obtaining these points here, like 3, -2, 0, -4, 2, and 5. You plot each of the points, and then after that you join them with your ruler, and then you will get something like this. We are going to the next one, which is draw the image triangle K2, L2, J2, K2, L2 of triangle JKL under a reflection in the y-axis. So that one too, we are going to reflect this triangle here, the JKL, I mean the first triangle, this one. We are going to reflect it, and we are going to use the y-axis as our mirror line. We are going to use the y-axis as the mirror line. So it's more like you standing here at JKL and then placing a mirror on this y-axis here. You have a mirror on this y-axis. You will see that your image will be back here, like where I have the cursor, where I'm clicking right now. This is where your image is going to be. So what it means is the y coordinate is not going to change, but the x is going to be negative. So let's go ahead and do that here on OneNote. So all we are going to do is, we had the point J, We had a point K and we had a point L. J was 2, 3. I can write it this way, like 2, 3. And we said the Y is not going to change. So this is reflection. Reflection in Y-axis. We said the Y is not going to change, but the X is going to be negative. So we get negative 2, 3 for J2. First of all, we had to put the formula or the rule, which is XY under a reflection in Y-axis, mapping onto negative X, Y, and then we just write each of them like that. So 2, 3 will be negative 2, 3. The next one was it 4, 0? Yeah, so that becomes negative 4 and 0. And then the last one, which was 2, 5, right? No, 5, 2. The last one was 5, 2. And it's L. So under the reflection, it will map to L2. This is K2. And that's going to be negative 5, 2. The Y coordinates are not going to change. So we go back to our graph. And this one, I'm going to just plot the points for you to see how you will do it on your graph sheet. So the first point was negative 2, 3. So we will pick negative 2 on the X and then 3 on the Y. So that's going to be here. And that's going to be J1. And the next point, I'll go and edit the B to be J1. And then we will go to our next point, which is 4, 0. And we said that's going to be negative 4, 0. So that's going to be here. And the last one was 5, 2. And we said that's going to be negative 5, 2. And that's going to be here. So after everything, after locating the points like this, take note, these letters are supposed to be J2, K2, and L2. I'll go and change them. But after everything, you use your ruler and then you join the points. I'm going to do it with a polygon. I'll select all the points and then draw the image triangle, and then I'll go to algebra mode and then change the BCD to whatever it has to be. So B is supposed to be J2, so that goes to J2. It has to be capital J2, and then the C have to be K2, and then the D becomes our L2, like that. And that becomes the next diagram that we are supposed to do. We are left with the last part of the question, which is the translation. The last one, which is the translation. And it says we should, I can also use the software to actually rotate this, but I'm not going to do that since we've already done it. And the last one is translation. The software can also do translation, but I'm going to show you how we do that using the formula. So when you are doing translation, and here is a translation by the vector. So when you are doing translation by vector, all you have to do is add the vector to each of the points that were originally given. And here the vector is, let me write it here, vector is negative 6, 2. And it goes like image is equal to the vector plus the point. Vector plus point. So we take each of the points. For example, when we take J is going to be J3. Yes, the image of J is going to be J3, and it's going to be the vector -6, 2 plus the point. J was what, 2, 3? Yeah, J was 2, 3. So plus 2, 3. And then we do this. You add the top, which becomes -6 plus 2, -4, and then 2 plus 3, which is 5. So this becomes the image of J, which will be J3. So we go to our graph, and then we plot, what was it? -4 and 5. So we come here, and -4 is here, and 5 is going to be up there. So I have to select point, and then put a point over there. Choose, we go for point. Or I can also just use the, what do we call it? The software to do it. I think you get a point. So we will go to J. We've done J. We go to K, and then that will be K3. We add a vector -6, 2 to that, and then that was what, 4, 0? Yeah, K was 4, 0. So we add -6 to the 4, we get -2, and then we add was it 6, 0? 6, 2. So we add 2 to the 0, and that becomes 2. So it's going to be that. Okay, I'm going to, let's do it. I'm not going to use the software. So we will plot the point, which was -4, 5 for J3. So -4 and 5 is going to be here. And that's J3, not B. You have to label it J3, not B. And the next one is here. We are using the same formula. We are going to have the image JK3, which is going to be the vector -6, 2 plus the point K, and K was 4, 0. So that's going to be 4, 0, and then we add it, we get something like -2, 2. So that becomes the point K3. So we go here to our graph, and then it was what, -2, 2. Yeah, so we come to the graph, and then I select point. This is -2 and 2, so that's going to be here. And then we do the last one, which is L, and L is going to map to L3, and that's going to be -6, 2 being added to the point 5, 2. Yeah, 5, 2, and that's going to be -1 and 4, and this point is going to be L3. So we go to the graph, and then we plot L3, which is going to be -5 is a -1 and 4. So -1 on X, 4 on Y, which is going to be here. Take note, this B, C, D has to be J3, K3, and L3. And then after everything, you join all of them with a ruler. I'm going to use the software to do this. Before I do that, let me define the vector under the algebra mode. So that's going to be vector, and the point is -6, 2. That was the vector. Boom. Okay, so it's saying it will not take negative number as a vector. So all I have to do is take this off, and then I can define the vector over here. Good. I can define the vector over here. Let me just go to the tools and then define a vector here, starting from 0 all the way to -6, 2. This becomes the vector. Yeah. Now let me go to algebra mode and see. Yeah, I have the vector AE, which is -6, 2. Okay, that one worked. So that is it. Now let me go to tools and then translate by the vector and see where it goes. So we go to transform and then translate by vector. We are going to translate the JKL by this vector, and you see we got the same points that we selected, so that was right. And then I'm going to change the variables or the labels for that. This is going to be J3, and this is going to be K3, and then this is going to be L3. And that will be it. Question is solved. This is L3, and it is solved. So when you plot this on your graph, you don't have to draw the vector as I have it here. I did that because I needed it for the software to be able to translate it. For you, we did the calculation here. So we only need this calculation to be able to get the points and then plot them. Thank you very much for watching. And this is going to be our graph. This is going to be the graph. Let me zoom out a bit for you to see. Yeah, so this is the graph. This is how it's going to look like. Okay, like this. Yeah, I will end it here. Thank you, and I'll see you in our next video. Bye bye.